Welcome to today's live stream. I hope you are feeling well. Here we go again. We are back with you once more. And first of all, I want to say that we are having the most amazing day here in England. It is, I suppose you would describe it as a glorious day. Oh, very nice. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? Are you happy? I really hope you are feeling good today, because I'm feeling okay. I will be honest with you. You know what it's like when the weather is nice, when the weather is actually good, you feel better. Have you noticed that? So whenever you wake up in the morning and the sun is shining, you feel good, you feel okay, you feel happy. But sometimes when it's gloomy, maybe it's raining, not so good. So I hope I can bring a little bit of my sunshine your way, just in case it is cloudy and grey where you are. So my name is Duncan. For those wondering, who is that strange man with his slightly out of shape t-shirt? Yes, I've noticed that this t-shirt is slightly out of shape. I think I have washed it too many times. My name is Duncan. I talk about English. I love English. I am one of those up there. A lot of people say that. They say, Mr. Duncan, he is one of those English addicts. And it's true. I am. I am crazy about the English language. And I have a feeling maybe perhaps you are a little bit crazy about it as well. It's good to see you here today. We have a lot of things to talk about. Of course, we always get together on Sunday. Not only myself, but also Mr. Steve will be here at around about 2:30 UK time to share some more of his, I want to say, wisdom. I'm not sure if it is that, but at least Mr. Steve will be here a little bit later on. It is gorgeous outside. I know you hate it whenever I talk about the weather, but we are having a wonderful day. What a super day. And yesterday we were out walking, Mr. Steve and myself, and we had the most amazing time. Not only that, but we saw something that I've never seen in my whole life, ever. Well, I suppose I've seen it on television, and I've seen it written down and talked about and written about, but I've never seen it happening for real. The most amazing spectacle. So when you describe something as a spectacle, it means something you see, something you observe. Quite often when we are talking about something that is memorable, maybe something that is outstanding, a thing that you can't believe you saw. So yesterday we were out and we saw the most amazing thing happen yesterday. Something that happens around this time of year in the countryside. Something that farmers do to their animals at this time of year. I wonder if you know what it could be. Well, we have made it all the way to the end of another week, and we are just over halfway through the month of May. June is approaching. Yes, it's Sunday. We are back together and I hope you are feeling good. I do. I really mean it. A lot of people think I don't mean it, but I do. I really mean it. I do. I mean it. 100%. Did you see our special live stream last week? Steve and myself decided to go for a walk during the week. I think it was on Thursday, and we had the most amazing time. We did a live stream. It was very weird, very odd. There were some very strange moments of time during that live stream. And there you can see a photograph taken from the live stream that we did last Thursday. We went out for a walk and it was lovely. The weather was nice. I was suffering from hay fever slightly, but we had the most amazing time. If you haven't seen it, there were many moments, and I was talking to Steve this morning and I said, Steve, I think maybe last Thursday we went too far with some of the things that we said. And Steve agreed with me. So if you haven't seen last Thursday's live stream, we were actually outside, far away from the house, using the mobile phone. It went okay. There were one or two problems with the signal from time to time, but it was good. It was interesting. It was certainly different. One or two people commenting about some of the opinions that we held last Thursday on the live stream. That's all I'm saying for now. We have a lot of things to talk about today. Hopefully these will not be subjects. They will not be things that will upset you too much. I really do hope so. We are talking about things that you feel you have to do, or maybe if you feel as if you must have some sort of activity or something you should be doing. Quite often people feel as if they should always be doing something, some sort of activity. There are people who are not very good at sitting still. I know one person who is like that, and I'm sure you can guess who that person is. Also today we are looking at words and phrases connected to loss. Not necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a sad thing. Loss, the word loss and losing, can be used in many ways in the English language. What else are we talking about today? Countries. There are many countries around the world. You live in one, I live in one, and there are many others besides the one that we are native to. But sometimes there are countries that we forget about. We almost forget about them because no one ever mentions them. So if we have time, we'll be talking about that as well. And we have fill in the blanks. Some people like it. Some people enjoy playing it. Some people don't enjoy it. A little bit later on, we will be playing that as well. I actually feel as if I have something else I should be mentioning. Oh yes, I know. School. Who remembers their school days? I know I do. Many bad memories, if I was honest with you. And I know I've mentioned this before. I did not enjoy school very much. I didn't have a very good time at school from some of the teachers and also some of my peers at school. That's an interesting word actually, peer. If someone is your peer, it means they are on the same level as you. They are your equal to a certain degree. Your peer. P-E-E-R. Peer. We often describe people who are all on the same level as your peer group. So maybe your classmates in school, people who are the same age as you or associated with you in some way. We often describe as your peer group. But at school I did not get on very well with all the other students. Not a good time. But today we are looking at people you used to hang around with. And there is another interesting phrase. It would appear that we have quite a few interesting phrases to look at today. If you hang around with someone, it means you are with them. Maybe they are your companion, or maybe you are their companion. You hang around with them. Maybe during your lessons at school, or maybe during your break between classes. So that's another question I'm asking today. Who did you hang around with at school? Did you have a best friend at school? Were you lucky enough to have a good friend during your school time? We will look at that later on. I wonder who was first on today's live chat. Let's have a look, shall we? Oh, very interesting. Once again, the champion is still at the top. I feel as if you deserve a medal of some sort. Vitas, well done. You are first on the live chat once again. People are cheering, you see. They are very excited. Thank you, Vitas, for joining me again with your very fast finger. There are conspiracies going around at the moment concerning you and your finger, Vitas. There are people who are saying that Vitas lives here in my studio, and that's the reason why he's always first on the live chat. I can say right now that is not true. Vitas does not live here. He just has the most amazing, the most incredible finger for clicking on things. So well done, Vitas. We also have Beatrice. Hello, Beatrice. Nice to see you here today. Also, Mosen. And he is on his travels at the moment. We also have Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Luis. I'm so pleased that your internet is working. I'm so pleased to see you here today from the south of France. Very nice to see you. In fact, I can say now, my family on my father's side actually originated in the place where you are now. Ooh, ooh la la, as they say in France. We might be talking more about France later on for certain reasons. We also have Palmyra. Hello, Palmyra. Thank you for joining me today. Shahab is here. Hello, Shahab. I feel as if your name deserves an echo. Shahab. Hello to you. Nice to see you here. Hello also. Oh, Tomek is here today. Hello, Tomek. How are you? Are you okay? Don't worry if you've just joined us, Tomek. If you just tuned in, I've already mentioned the weather. So don't worry about that. Also, we have Rosa. Also, Zadzika is here as well. Who else is here? Valentin is also live with us right now on this Sunday afternoon. Steve will be here in a few moments from now. Of course, he will be voicing some of his opinions. I'm not sure. Do you like listening to Mr. Steve with his opinions on the world around him? Do you think it's a good idea, or should I censor Mr. Steve? Now, you know I'm not a big fan of censorship. I think freedom of speech should mean you are free to speak. So we will see what happens today when Mr. Steve appears on the live chat. Hello, Milad. Milad, who is watching in Iran. Hello, Iran. It's nice to see you here today. I do have a lot of people watching in Iran. But I do notice sometimes certain countries or certain people might be a little bit shy to actually type on the live chat. So can I say, Milad, welcome to the live stream on this Sunday. We also have Revan. Hello, Revan. Revan Ali. Nice to see you here today. Claudia is here as well. Oh, hello, Claudia. What is cooking today? What do you have in your pot? What is cooking today, Claudia? Please let me know if it's something nice. Last night we had Mr. Steve's speciality. Now I've noticed with all types of cooking, and when we are talking about cooking, we often talk about people who cook for a living, maybe chefs, maybe well-known chefs, cooks, people who love cooking food, and quite often they will have what we call speciality dishes. Maybe these are things that they are very good at making, or maybe something they enjoy making. Maybe it is their favourite type of food. So Mr. Steve has his own speciality meal, and he made it last night. Chili con carne, spicy, lots of tomatoes, plenty of garlic, and it was lovely. And guess what? We had it with some Mexican style chips as well, nachos. I'm sure you've seen them. They are triangular in shape and they are lovely. So chili con carne with Doritos or nachos, absolutely amazing. And I have to say, Steve does make the most amazing chili con carne. Claudia is reheating today, reheating food. I believe in reheating food that you have left over. In fact, we've done it with yesterday's chili con carne. We've actually got some still in the fridge. So on Tuesday night, we are going to have some more of Mr. Steve's lovely chili that we put in the fridge last night. So yes, we also do that as well. We love reheating food. Sometimes, I don't know if you've noticed this, but sometimes reheated food actually tastes better. So certain types of food, when you reheat it, so you cook it and then you let it go cold, you keep it in the fridge, and then maybe a couple of days later you reheat it and you eat it again. You eat the rest of it. You eat the last of it. And quite often it does taste better, I will be honest with you. We also have, oh, look who's here today. Hello, stranger. Pedro Belmont is here today. Hello, Pedro. Nice to see you here watching in sunny Brazil. I assume it is. Anyway, I assume it is sunny. Giovanni. Hello, Mr. Duncan. Nice to see you again. The last live stream was so beautiful. I watched it the day after. And I had a very bad day at work. So it was very helpful, interesting, and also a very good laugh. Thank you very much, Giovanni. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I do think that Mr. Steve and possibly myself, we went too far with some of the things we said. But we are still here to tell our tale. Speaking of food, it turns out that one of my colleagues used to work as a chef. He is busy with cooking Italian food for this Tuesday, when he will be holding an International Food Day. Thank you, Tomek, for letting us know about that. My father, for many years, was a chef. In fact, later on, he had his own business doing catering. So my dad, in his life, used to do a lot of catering for other people. He also worked at a hotel for many years. And yes, he was also very good at cooking. He was a very good chef. And it sounds to me as if your friend, Tomek, is also very good at it as well. Can I say hello also to, who else is here today? I don't want to leave anyone out. Hello, Abdullah. Hello, Abdullah. I can see your Arabic writing there. I can't read it. If I was very clever, I could put it into my computer and then translate it. But I don't have time at the moment, unfortunately. Hello also to Patrick. Hello to Patrick Marval, who apparently is going to be meeting up in Paris along with quite a few English addicts. 3 weeks. 3 weeks to go before we meet up. Are you excited? And the one thing I'm hoping now is that the weather will be okay. Now, I've looked at the forecast for the beginning of June, and it looks as if the weather is going to be okay. So I am a little bit excited at the moment about that, if I was honest with you. So I do hope the weather will be nice when we meet up in Paris. 3 weeks. Hello, Shahab. I am learning American English. That's okay. As I always say, American English, British English. Always remember, there is only one English language. So that's good. Who else is here? Giovanni says, hello. I remember from last Thursday you were talking about lots of different subjects. Things that I'm not even going to mention now, just in case someone from YouTube is listening. They might get angry. We also have Rosa Aziz. Hello, Aziz, who says, hello, Mr. Duncan. By the way, I have followed you since 2014. You have been here for a very long time. 9 years is a long time to be watching me. I just hope. I hope for all those years the things I've been doing have been helpful to you. Have I helped you, Aziz? I hope so. I really do. Alessandra is here as well, and very soon, in the next few moments, Steve will be here. But first of all, I thought it would be interesting today to look at something slightly different. We are going to look at some idioms, and I'm just wondering if you can spot where I am in the video. So this will keep us going for a couple of moments, and then we will have a look at the cows at the back of the house, and then Mr. Steve will be here. So please don't go away. Lots of interesting things still to come, right here on English Addict. I love idioms. They spice up any sentence or conversation so well. Here's a good one for you. A storm in a teacup. This idiom means that the fuss and chaos caused by something is over the top. The reaction is stronger than it needs to be. If people become angry over a small mistake or problem, then we can say that it is a storm in a teacup. It is all a big fuss about nothing. I don't really like the fluorescent lights in here. Ew. Another idiom for you now. To catch wind of something, or to get wind of something. This means to find out about something. Some news has reached you. You have been informed about something. Perhaps the news concerns you or is about you. You find out about it. You get wind of it. The news has reached you. Idiom number 3 is to go out on a limb. This idiom does not relate to a body part, but in fact a tree. The idiom means to do something that puts you at risk or in danger. You do something risky or difficult, quite often to help another person. You go out on a limb to achieve something. If you are left out on a limb, then you have been left with no help or support. Your work colleagues would not support you. They left you out on a limb. The limb being referred to is the branch of a tree. One more idiom before your comments. To bark up the wrong tree. This idiom refers to a person making the wrong assumption about something. They presume something incorrectly. Perhaps they have accused someone of committing a crime, but they are wrong. You could say that they are barking up the wrong tree. They are looking in the wrong place for the answer. Just like a dog that thinks there is something worth chasing up a tree, but there isn't. The dog is barking up the wrong tree. And if your assumption is wrong, so are you. was a very long break. I can't remember the last time I had such a long break there, but there is a reason. I will explain in a moment. This is English Addict on a Sunday, and we are here with you now, live. Everyone say hello to us as we wave to you. Why are you so far away? Come on, come closer. You don't have to be so shy. You don't have to be so timid. Come on over here. It's much more fun. That's better. And guaranteeing that we will be having lots of fun, it's Mr. Steve.
Hello, Mr. Duncan.
Steve, can I just ask one question? Where the hell were you?
Well, of course, I normally come on at 2:30, and I was doing some very tough gardening work this morning.
Okay.
And I came in at 2:45, and I thought, I'm just going to lie down on the bed. I feel a bit tired because my neck. I was doing some cutting back this hedge.
Okay.
And I suddenly heard, Steve, like a distant sound calling.
That was me.
I realised I was fast asleep on the bed.
So basically, Steve was fast asleep and he had to wake up and come down, and now he's here. So just 3 or 4 minutes ago, Steve was actually asleep.
I was asleep and I heard this sort of, Steve.
Yeah, you just said that.
Yes, I thought, 10 minutes on the bed, that'll be nice, but it turned out to be half an hour. Anyway, I'm refreshed, Mr. Duncan.
I don't think.
And then my neck's aching.
Yeah. That's your age.
No, that's because I was using my long extender.
Really? I don't want to know about your long extender.
My hedge trimmer on its long extendable pole.
I don't think anyone wants to know about your long extendable pole, to be honest.
To reach up to the top of a large conifer tree.
Okay.
Did you film it? No.
I tell you what, Steve, go back to bed.
No, I was just telling people what I was doing. That's all.
Anyway, apparently
I can't say anything.
We got a lot of response to last Thursday.
What happened last Thursday?
We were out and about, weren't we?
Oh, yes, that's right.
Doing a live stream. Okay, it's going to be one of those shows again. And we were talking about all sorts of subjects, but we had a lot of response to that. A lot of people saying how wonderful it was and how funny we were. And some of the things that we were talking about were very funny. So we will try to recreate that today.
Yes. Fun, laughter, happiness, Mr. Duncan. We'll try and recreate it. By the way, Tomek wants the echo effect.
Yes, I know he does. We will save that for my last ever live stream. On my last ever live stream, you can have the echo, Tomek.
Very nice.
So the last ever one.
Maybe we could find a different sound effect for Tomek.
I can think of one or two. Toilet flushing.
May happen. It may well happen.
The toilet flushing, maybe.
Watch this space.
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe the sound of a dog barking in the distance.
Maybe we could have lots of different sound effects for lots of different people.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, that's a very good idea.
So that we know who they are.
Anyway, yesterday we were out walking. We had a lovely day because we are having the most amazing weather. It looks as if summer has arrived. I'm hoping that the weather will be nice when we are meeting up in Paris. We will see what happens. But we saw the most amazing thing yesterday.
We did.
It was just something I've never seen in my life. Quite often you hear this happening, but you never actually see it. And yesterday we were able to witness it with our own eyes. Would you like to see what we saw yesterday? Okay, here it comes now. And then after this, we will explain what it was we saw. Although I have a feeling the video might explain it for you. Isn't that amazing? That's what we saw yesterday. Lots of sheep being sheared.
Yes. I know, it was quite... We were just going back home, our usual route, after a cup of coffee, and I had a tea cake. Oh, no, what did I have? A scone. And we heard all this commotion, this loud barring. I've never heard such a cacophony. There's a word for today. A cacophony.
What's barring?
The sound that a sheep makes.
No.
Bah!
Bleat.
Well, bleat or bar.
I've never heard of that.
Yes, you would never heard of a sheep making the sound of a bar before.
But don't they call it bleating?
Well, barring, bleating, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, they were making hundreds. There must have been 400 or 500 sheep. And they were this team of people that were all shearing them. Well, there were 3 people shearing, and then they were collecting the fleeces. But what a cacophony.
Cacophony.
Of sound, because the sheep were a bit distressed. Didn't they look funny after they'd been sheared? They looked naked. They must have felt very naked afterwards. But it was fascinating to watch. The effort required to shear these sheep is quite phenomenal.
Yeah.
The skill.
It isn't something that I would like to try, because it looks as if sheep, or even though they don't look it, I think they could do a lot of damage to a human being. I think they could give you a nasty kick. So once you get hold of them, you have to know what you're doing, or else the sheep will probably cause a lot of damage to your body.
Have we got anybody watching that has ever sheared a sheep or been involved in shearing sheep?
Or done anything to a sheep?
And I'm being very careful the way I pronounce that word, shearing. But yes, it seems quite a physical effort. They must have... I was trying to work out that they might be able to do, between 3 of them, they were doing one every 5 minutes approximately. So I worked out they'd be able to do about 36 every hour, or say 40. And they'd probably may well get it all done in one day, but whether they did or not, about 410 hours.
Yeah,
but they were certainly working hard.
I think they were, but you're right. There must have been around 400 or 500 sheep. I've never seen so many sheep in one place.
Yes.
They were making a lot of noise, but we couldn't resist stopping and filming them, because it was quite interesting. And some of the sheep did not look very happy. They were not enjoying it.
Would you like to be manhandled by a young farmer, Mr. Duncan?
Yes, I would.
Exactly. Yes, I thought so. Well, the sheep, I think, they were all female sheep, so I would imagine they were sort of submitting to his will.
Really?
Yes, a male farmer submitting. The female sheep submitting to the male farmer's will.
You could have been right the first time.
It seems that you grab them by the legs and then clamp your legs around them.
Yeah.
And that is what you need to do to keep a sheep in place.
I've done that.
It works with humans as well.
It works with anyone.
Yeah.
You just grab them by the legs and clamp your legs around them.
Aziz, let's mention what Aziz is. Sorry, there's only 2 Aziz. Aziz is thanking you for your English, saying that it's much better than 9 years ago, and if we don't mention it, he's going to carry on saying it.
Oh, I see.
Because
So what was happening? What was happening 9 years ago? Was it any good? Why was I worse then?
Your phrase, "I can do it,"
Oh, I see.
is the one that helped Aziz.
Yes, that's it.
And,
I can do it now with the echo. I can do it.
There we go. So we thank you very much for your comment, and obviously repeating it over and over again, we have noticed it, so it works. So. Just shows you it's like a child nagging at you. They keep asking for the same thing over and over. Can I have some sweets? Can I have that new player, whatever it is, that new game, that new video game, not video game. What would it be? What would the children buy now?
That new
games.
That new phonograph.
That new. I want that new phone. I want that new phone. They keep saying it. Eventually, the parents give in. So
that new Kodak Instamatic camera. All of the things that Steve had when he was around in the 70s that don't exist anymore. That's very good.
Ugly
But-
Sheep says VTEX.
Well, it is true. It is true that repetition and repeating things is a very good way of learning as well. So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't like doing it. They think repeating things is boring. But as far as I'm concerned, repeating things is the best way to learn
Yes.
anything.
And I like your name, as is. But it's difficult to say it twice.
Hmm.
As is. Yes, but thank you for your comment, because, Mr. Duncan does work very hard. How many years now, Mr. Duncan? 15?
This year, it will be 17 years.
17 years. So some people watching would have been naught when
Okay.
and wouldn't have even been born, and now they will be 17 years old,
Yeah.
and with their life before them.
Yes. You lucky people.
Or you were 17 when Mr. Duncan started, and you're now 34.
Yes, or whatever. Just
And,
add 17 to any number.
Or you could have been 80 17 years ago, and now you're not alive anymore. Because you could be 97. I mean, there's so many possibilities, Mr. Duncan.
You are so cheerful. I don't know why people
So
watch
thirsty.
you. Why do people watch you to be cheered up? I will never, ever know. Have you noticed that there are certain countries that you never hear mentioned, ever? Have you noticed that? So there are some countries around the world that they exist, but you never, ever hear them mentioned, ever at all. And I suppose I can think of one, by the way, at the moment, only one. But this is a country that...
country you've never...
Yes, well, there are more than one... There's more than one country around the world. I know that. I'm very aware of that. But from my own personal point of view, but maybe you also know, or maybe you know of a country that never gets mentioned. So here's a country that used to be mentioned a lot, but isn't anymore. Luxembourg. Luxembourg. I remember growing up in the 70s and 80s, and you always heard about Luxembourg. And then suddenly, it seemed to just vanish. It is still there,
Is it?
but it does still exist. And of course, there is a city as well, which can be a little confusing. But Luxembourg is a country, but it is actually a duchy. So I think it's one of the last countries in the world to be classed as a royal duchy. So that means that there is a duke or duchess ruling that particular country, just like it used to be many years ago. So there used to be duchies everywhere, D-U-C-H-Y, duchy. And Luxembourg is one of those particular countries.
Does that mean they're ruled by royalty?
Yes, but a duke or duchess. So they are normally the ones in charge. So I think it's one of the only ones left. Also, Luxembourg, if I remember rightly, Luxembourg has the best or the highest wages in Europe.
We
And
always heard about it when we were growing up. I think it was because we joined Europe, didn't we, in the 70s? And so everything was Europe this, Europe that. And Luxembourg, isn't it the smallest country in Europe?
It is.
So for some reason, it was always mentioned a lot. Blah, blah, Europe, blah, 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 France, Germany. Do you know what the smallest country... They always used to talk about Luxembourg. And I don't really know why. Only I think it was just a point of interest.
Well, I do remember there was also a coalition that was formed between Luxembourg, Netherlands, and I can't remember the other country. I think it was Belgium. I think Belgium, Luxembourg, and also Netherlands, they all grouped together and they formed their own little trade group. So you might describe it as a miniature EU. But that was many years ago as well. I'm not sure if it still exists.
Well, Tomek says that Luxembourg doesn't even enter the Eurovision Song Contest anymore. Apparently they used to.
But I don't blame them.
Well, yes. So, yeah. I mean, and some people have mentioned here you don't really hear Scandinavian countries mentioned very much. Yeah, you don't. I don't know why, but I think it's probably when we were growing up. But Luxembourg was always being mentioned. Is there anybody watching now who is from Luxembourg? Have we ever had anybody from Luxembourg watching us, I wonder?
I think it also has one of the highest GDP rates in the world. I'm sure it's the second or third for the size of the country. I'm sure it is I think it's per capita, if I remember rightly. But there are lots of very interesting facts about Luxembourg, even though you don't really hear about it very often anymore. But I remember growing up in the 70s when politics in Europe was very active, because the European Union was being formed in the early 1970s, and then it was all being decided how these rules would be set. And I think Luxembourg was also involved as well. But it's interesting, isn't it? The Benelux, that's it, the Benelux. Yes, the Benelux, it was a formation of a very small trade group. And I think there were just three countries involved in that.
I wonder how that's going. Of course, there are all sorts of trade groups setting up all around the world, aren't there? There's one involving sort of India and a lot of Asian countries all sort of trying to group together. They've been trying to form their own sort of, can't remember what that's called now.
What is interesting at the moment, Steve, is there is a slowly, because at the moment there is a big G7 summit taking place in Japan. Japan, once again, is hot property. Japan, it's hot. It's a hot place. And I'm not talking about the weather. I'm talking about the fact that a lot of people now are hoping to do trade. So there is a strange division taking place now between lots of countries. You have China getting very deeply involved with African nations. In fact, they've been involved for about the last 15 years, slowly building up their relationships with African countries. And I'm as you know, I used to live in China, and I'm very fascinated by that particular aspect. So there are people grouping together, and when I say people, I mean countries, all grouping together, but not necessarily in the places that you would imagine. So China and Africa now have very strong trade links.
Of course, they're trying to break the US's dominance on trade, and the dollar being the world's reserve currency and all that sort of thing. They're trying to break that in various parts of the world. It's probably not going to work, or if it does, it's not going to have much of an effect, because at the end of the day, no one's going to really trust these other currencies, because the dollar is always trusted that it'll be stable. So I mean, who would buy UN, for example, and hold that in the hope that it could go down 50% next week, or it's not stable enough yet? So I don't think there's much risk there. Of course, Japan, their economy's been dreadful for about the last 30 years. They had a big crash, and it's never fully recovered.
No, I think a lot of countries in Asia did suffer slightly in the late 1990s, but now Japan is the hottest place, and there is a lot of trade. I think this is all relating to technology. Again, there is another giant leap in technology about to happen. It's going to be happening over the next 2 or 3 years. So this is not AI. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just hardware. So not software, but actual hardware. So I think there is going to be a big leap, as we often get with computer processing. And I think Japan wants to be part of that group. And of course, you have all the problems at the moment between China and Taiwan as well.
No, there's a lot going on, Mr. Duncan.
And all of that. But
we'll all be out of a job.
But what I'm saying is Taiwan is probably the most important, or one of the most important countries in the world when it comes to computer technology, chips, microchips, processors, so all of that stuff. And I think in the future, in the next couple of years, you might see more and more people talking about that particular situation as all of these trade agreements are signed and sealed.
Yeah, well, America are trying to wean themselves off that trade because they realise it's a huge risk. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It was very funny actually. I mean, everyone's trying to de-risk themselves when it comes to places like Taiwan and energy from Russia and things like that. The European Union have invested 30 billion in chip technology, and apparently 30 or 40 billion over the last few weeks. They've announced investment in chip technology, or companies involved in the development of new hardware, as you say. And the UK announced with a big fanfare that they were going to invest huge amounts of money. Guess how much we invested?
Well, it won't be much.
It was 1 billion. And apparently it's so pathetically small, it won't have the size. We will be highly dependent on Taiwan for many, many, many years to come.
But I don't think that's necessarily a problem as long as the political situation stays the way it is.
Well,
that's literally what I just said. And that's why Taiwan is going to suddenly be the hottest country. Again, I don't mean temperature, I mean with the desirability of doing trade with them, because there is definitely something happening in the world of computers and processors and microchips. All of this is about to take another leap, and when that happens, people are going to be falling over each other trying to invest in those companies. I think so. And that's it, really. So countries you never really hear about. Luxembourg is always that country that I remember it from my childhood, you see, from my days as a child, because it was always being talked about.
So what are we talking about today, Mr. Duncan? Talking about talking.
Yes.
What are we talking about today?
We're looking at words and phrases connected to loss, not necessarily negative or depressing, but there are many words and phrases that you can use when you are using the word loss, losing, loss, something you lose, something you no longer have. Another question I wanted to ask as well, is it always necessary to do things? Do you know what I mean by that?
No.
Oh, okay. Is it always necessary to keep doing things, even if you have some spare time? Does that time always need to be filled with doing things? And I think you're a good person to ask this, Steve, because I think you are a bit like that, aren't you?
Well, I like to be busy. I like to be doing things. Every day I write a list of things that I want to do that day, even if it's fairly mundane things. Like, for example, last night I wrote down that I wanted to trim that big conifer bush outside our front door.
And you did it.
And I did it, but if I hadn't written it down, I probably wouldn't have done it. I find if you write something down, somehow it becomes more real, and you sort of, if you think, oh, tomorrow I'll cut that conifer tree down, and then it doesn't really happen, or tomorrow I'll tidy that room, tomorrow I'll clean the bathroom.
That's not really what I'm asking, though, but I'm just asking if you find yourself in a moment of time that you have nothing to do. I think a lot of people feel as if they still should be doing something, or they need to find something to do instead of just sitting down.
Well, that's me.
Yes, I think that is definitely you. So it's very different from making plans. Making plans are things that you intend to do anyway, but you might find yourself suddenly in a situation where you have some free time. How do you spend that unexpected free time? Do you do something useful? Do you try your best to find something to do? Or do you just go with the flow and take a few moments to relax?
Nitram says, doing nothing is a thing.
Well, it is technically.
Yes.
You're right.
Because you've chosen to do nothing. So you're actually doing something by doing nothing.
Yes, it does sound strange.
It's
but
a choice.
It's true.
No, you don't always have to be doing things, do you? I mean, We're not saying whether one thing's good or bad, doing things or not doing things, but I just get, some people get a lot of satisfaction from achieving things. But personally, I find I've got to write them down.
Yeah.
If I don't write them down, I don't do them.
So if you have an unexpected moment in your day where you have free time, sometimes I like sometimes to separate and detach myself from things that I'm normally doing. So sometimes I like to just step back and have a moment where I'm doing nothing. And sometimes I find that quite therapeutic. Can I say hello to someone? Can I say hello to Carol Avila, who is watching in Brazil? Bom dia to you as well. Very nice to see you here today. Hello, Carol.
Are you new, Carol? Is this a name you don't recognise, Mr. Duncan?
I don't recognise your name.
Are you new on the live chat or new watching, Mr. Duncan? Please let us know. We love to have new people watching. We like to know, why? Why?
Yes.
No. Claudia says, we always do something. Even sleeping is doing something. Yes, I think when we mean doing things, we mean, actually doing something. Something like cleaning something or.
That's it. You might find yourself with moments of spare time. Do you use that spare time by finding something else to do, or do you just enjoy that moment of peace and quiet, that moment? And some people do find it very hard to get those moments.
Litram says, I have nothing to do right now. The inference or implication is that you are watching us, but you're not doing nothing by watching us, of course, because you're learning English. So,
Yes.
You might be physically doing nothing. You might be just sitting there, but your brain's working. And hopefully you're laughing from time to time as well, because we like to make you laugh.
Hopefully.
Keep you amused, keep ourselves amused, even. And we like to watch what you put on the live stream. Carol says that I used to live in the UK.
Oh, I wonder where. So are you native to the UK, or are you one of those people who moves around from place to place, country to country? So where did you live in the UK? Where were you staying?
Do you know Pedro?
Do you know Pedro Belmont?
Yes.
I think there's a good chance that you don't, because Brazil is huge.
I know, we're sort of joking, but we have somebody called Pedro that comes on. Normally comes on around this time.
Yeah, he's on.
Expecting us to... Oh, is Pedro here?
He's on today.
Oh, right, okay. Hello, Pedro. Yeah. Do you and Carol know each other?
Yeah.
And if you do, well, it'll be quite phenomenal. I've moved back to my country. So just moved back to Brazil.
Huh?
Right, okay. Well, that's wonderful. So no doubt you'll go back. Everyone will be very impressed with your English, and you will be able to get a job anywhere. International trade, envoy to the UK, maybe, or an English teacher, or some translator. Mind you, you won't need... Will we need translators in the future with AI, Mr. Duncan?
My answer to that is yes. We will always need human beings to do those things, because there are situations where a machine won't be useful or it won't be practical. Quite often you will need a person, a human being nearby, even if that person is just...
Pressing buttons.
Sorry? What? What?
Go on, carry on. You've got to learn to just talk over me, Mr. Duncan.
Yes, or you just don't interrupt. Oh my goodness.
You lost your train of thought.
I do, because you interrupt my flow. Yeah, yes, we will always need someone nearby, even if a person is translating with a machine or a computer, or maybe using some other type of device. But you will always need humans there to program or control or to oversee, to make sure there are no mistakes. So I don't think human beings will ever not be needed.
Well, I read something interesting today, or heard something interesting on a YouTube channel, which I like to watch about...
You should not You should not get your information from YouTube.
Well, some of them are good.
There are so many people on YouTube who come on and they give you all this information, and they talk to you, and some people say they're teachers and they're not.
I know, and they're not. Yeah, don't trust anyone.
Don't trust anything that you hear on YouTube.
Anyway, there's one particular channel I like to watch every week, and they give a sort of financial update about what's going on in the markets around the world. I know it's boring, but I like to watch it. And they were asking this question about AI. What effect is that going to have? And this investor chap, he owns a company that is involved in investing people's money. And he said, well, AI, he said, well, in theory, should make companies very profitable because they're not having to employ so many people. And thus their profits go up. And thus their share value goes up. But the problem is, if they are getting rid of people, and these people are on the dole, who is going to buy the products that they make? Do you see what I mean? If people are made unemployed because of AI, then the companies that get more efficient are laying off their workers, and then there's nobody to buy the products that these companies make. So the value of the company might actually go down rather than up.
Well, basically, you have surplus human labour. Surplus human beings who are no longer required to do the job. Well, this happened before. This has all happened before. This is why I'm not panicking, to be honest, because this happened in the 1980s and everyone was worried. They were all worried about machines taking over and automatic machines, automated assembly, and there was some impact, but we all carried on and people still had jobs. So every time technology comes along and makes changes, I think it's not always a bad thing.
But
there is always something that is effective.
There might be a transition period.
But then it slowly levels out.
A period of time when an adjustment needs to take place. But I think before, when internet came along and computers, it wasn't so much replacing people. This anyway. I don't know enough about it, but we'll have to see what happens in years to come.
As I said earlier, the next big step will not be software; it will be hardware. Hardware is the next revolution, not software.
Well, you're talking about better chips, you mean, that work faster?
Yes, that's what I said earlier.
Yeah,
that's why at the moment Japan is trying to get in with the group who are all about to invest money into microchips and processors, because that's the next big thing. Again, there's going to be another big leap.
Yeah, because it's been stagnant for a number of years, hasn't it? They haven't really, chip power hasn't grown that much because they've sort of reached the limit. So what you're saying is they're on the cusp,
yes,
of developing, taking the next step up.
Yes, it's been incremental. It's been happening in small shuffles, so there hasn't been a big leap, but there is at the moment. I think there is about to be.
So what's changed then?
Well, what's changed is the way they build processes and how they use them and what they use them in as well. So it will be interesting. That's all happening right now.
Carol lived in Bournemouth, then moved to Plymouth, then got pregnant. I hope that was planned and not unplanned, and then decided to move back so that your parents could see their grandchildren. So yes, exactly, I do understand, because parents love to see their grandchildren.
It's true.
And so the pressure for you to move back would have been quite strong, I would have thought. Let's have a look. There was somebody new on as well. Ling Long Thang. Ling Long Thang, is that a new name as well? Saying hello.
Hello to you.
So hello to you.
Ling Long Thang. I think that the pronunciation of that.
Welcome,
and I think maybe you are. I'm going to say Vietnam, but I do apologise if I'm wrong. But it might be Vietnam. So we will see. We will see.
Claudia's talking about thyroid gland hormones. Now, I'm not quite sure why that is. Somebody must have mentioned something earlier. A lot of people have problems with their with their thyroid glands, don't they?
Mine used to swell up when I was a kid.
Really?
I don't know why. I used to get swollen thyroid glands.
That might explain why you were so skinny and thin when you were younger. Because thyroxine, isn't it? Nitram will know, and that's what regulates your metabolism. So if you've got an overactive thyroid, you lose weight. You know, your heart rate goes up, you burn up a lot more energy. If your thyroid is underactive, then you tend to put weight on more easily.
This did happen to me when I was a kid. I used to have very high metabolism, and from time to time my thyroid glands would swell slightly.
But they've gone down now, obviously.
I can't feel them anymore.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's something new. Fancy, I've learned something new about you that I didn't know, and we all found out at the same time.
Yes. I mean, they weren't huge. They weren't like two giant golf balls hanging from under my chin. They were just slightly enlarged, but it was noticeable to me when I touched them.
Hyperthyroidism. Hyper means more, increase. So yes, who's got that then? We want to know. People, when they get older, they get goiters, don't they? Goiters in their neck. My mum had one, where your thyroid sort of doesn't necessarily mean it's not working properly, but you can get growths on your thyroid and you get these sort of lumps in your neck. And they call them goiters.
They can become huge.
They can, yes. Yeah, so, I think it's in our family a bit, actually, that. I think mine's definitely underactive. That would explain why I'm always half asleep.
Like today. But when I was waiting for you here in the studio and you were on the bed snoring away.
I was on the bed snoring, yes.
Terrible. Talking of childhood, by the way, because I did just mention my strange illnesses, my weird things that used to happen to me when I was young. Do you remember being at school, Mr. Steve?
Yes.
Do you remember going to school? Do you remember who you used to hang out with?
I do.
When you were at school. So this is a quick question, also for you as well. We are getting through quite a lot of things today. And that's me, by the way, for those wondering. Yes, that is me. When I was around 13 years old. Oh, look, I'm so sweet and innocent. Here and there. Who did you hang around with at school? So did you have a friend at school that you used to hang around with?
No, I had many friends because I was so popular. Yes, I did have friends, yes. I did have friends that I hung out with. Yes, I had some that I used to go on bike rides with. We used to do a lot of bike riding when I was growing up. We used to meet up at the weekend and go for a long bike ride. I had some that I sort of used to make bombs with and blow up things with. I had another one that I used to we did chemistry experiments together. I had another one where we would just go on long walks and steal apples and things like that.
I wonder what you were going to say then.
Yes, well, yeah. And then as I got older, of course... No. Yeah, yes. Well, why? Why are you asking, Mr. Duncan?
Well, I'm asking... Well, when I say hang around at school with, I mean actually at school. So after the lessons or during lessons, were the people that you used to hang around with? Now, I remember in my school, there were always groups of kids who would always hang around during the lunch break or the morning break when the bell would go and everyone would go outside. And I would always be on my own. Quite often I would just wander around by myself. So I didn't really hang around with people at school, generally. Although I did have a couple of friends that I would call friends, I suppose. I had one friend who I knew from my very first day at infant school when I started, and I knew him virtually right through to the end of my school days. And I've got a picture of him. Would you like to see him? Here he is. This is the person who I went to school with.
He's a lot older than you.
No, that's my history. Oh. That's the history teacher.
I see, right.
So that's Mr. Baker. He is Mr. Baker, the history teacher, and then in between myself and my teacher, it's my friend from school, Wayne. His name, Wayne Locke. And he was my best friend at school. Not always on good terms, sometimes he would bully me a little bit as well. But that was taken not very far away from where we are now. That was taken at Ironbridge.
I wonder what that industrial-looking equipment was behind you.
Yeah, so
Look at that. That teacher's got a very 1970s hairstyle.
this was the 1970s.
And that was everybody had long hair in the 1970s.
Yes.
I didn't, but everybody else did because my parents wouldn't let me have long hair.
So this was taken in, I think it was about 1977, maybe 78. I think it was 1977. We were going on a school trip. So that is my friend from school. So I had a couple of friends, but unfortunately, quite often, I wouldn't really hang out with anyone at school. I certainly did not belong to any gangs at school. I wasn't in a gang or a group at school. I was often on my own, wandering around, or maybe I would sit somewhere and do some drawings.
Yes, Mosen. It is the 1970s, and you can tell from looking at the hairstyles, everybody had sort of long hair in the 1970s. Well, the men did. What I mean is the men had long hair.
Yes.
And my father wouldn't let me grow long hair because he said I would be a long-haired lout, and it was how look at all these young men with these long hair. It was treated very amongst sort of parents. It was frowned upon, wasn't it? It wasn't looked upon favourably if men grew their hair long. They looked like girls.
This is also
my father used to say.
This is also what older people do anyway. We always look at the new generation and say that they are the worst ever. Even now, people say that young people nowadays are the worst generation. And when I was at school, everyone who was older than me was saying the same things about all of the kids the same age as me when I was at school. We were all the worst generation that ever. So I think it always happens.
Well, what's happened then? What happened over those 20, 30 years? Did you turn out to be, the best generation ever?
I don't know. I suppose some will and some won't.
Yes.
So, but we always do that. We always generalise when we talk about the current young generation. They are always the worst. They're always lazy, or maybe they're not interested in things they should be. But that's just young people. That's what young people do. It doesn't matter if it's 50 years ago or 20 years ago or even now. Young people are often seen as the worst generation ever.
Vitas, yes, the Beatles hairstyle. I mean, that probably wasn't a Beatles hairstyle. It was probably more sort of, that would have been the sort of 60s, the 70s. That hairstyle was sort of, there were a lot of pop groups had that sort of, where it sort of went long at the front and then down at the sides and over your ears. And I wasn't allowed to grow my hair long, and I had lovely hair when I was younger. And then when I was confident enough in my 20s to grow long hair, I'd escaped from my parents and I could do what I wanted. It started falling out.
Yes.
So it was too late. I lost my chance to ever have long hair because it started falling out in my early 20s, and it was too late to grow it. So, and that's the one thing. I hope AI manages to figure out how to make you not bald anymore.
Well, there are lots of ways. The latest one, by the way, is it's a big craze now in Asia, where you just take a little bit of hair and you stick it to the front of your head. You've probably seen the commercials on the internet because they are everywhere. But this is something that's very big in Asia because apparently, and I remember this from when I was in China, the worst thing that can happen to an Asian male, especially if you're young, is to lose your hair. It's apparently it's one of the worst things because very few Asian guys, well, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I'm just using the word Asian to mean people around Asia.
China, isn't it, mainly?
China, anywhere. But yes, to lose your hair is almost I suppose it's almost shameful. So it is a big thing. Whereas here, it's very common to see men who are losing their hair, even if they're young. But yes, there are many ways. You can go to Turkey, of course, and have a hair transplant.
Very cheaply.
Yeah, I saw a very funny picture the other day, Steve, of people waiting at an airport to leave Turkey. And clearly, most of the men had just had hair transplants.
Really?
Because their heads were bright red and some of them had bandages on.
Oh, blimey.
And there was lots of them in the queue. So it's a huge industry for men who are losing their hair. They go to Turkey and they have a hair transplant. And then they come back and they have to treat their hair very carefully because you can get a very bad infection. And you don't want that.
So next time we go to Turkey, maybe we should have a hair transplant.
Yes.
I don't think I would want to go through that.
No.
I mean, what happens? Because they take it from the back of your head somewhere. Do you get patches at the back of your head?
They take the hairs out individually, and they plant each one in with a needle. They push the hair into your scalp. It does not sound very nice.
I wonder how long it takes.
It takes a very long time. And they have to put each hair in individually. But it has to be pushed in. They make little holes in your scalp and then they plant the new hair in those holes. But afterwards you have to be very careful because you can get an infection. And if you do, you could be in big trouble.
I'm not going to bother. I'm going to wait for the solution that you rub on and then it magically reappears. Because I think all my hair follicles are just there. They're still there. They're just dormant. And the right stimulus in the form of some wonderful new chemical, maybe Nitram is developing something secretly in his lab.
Yeah.
And it always amazes me that they can't solve that.
Anyway.
I mean, you can transplant somebody's heart, you can do all sorts of things, you can go to the moon, but you can't cure baldness. Always amazes me that they haven't cured that. I mean, I'm over it now. I spent 30 years being depressed about it, but I'm over it now.
That's it.
Right, oh yes.
Make your peace with
Of course, if the aliens ever land, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, okay.
If the aliens ever land, who are they going to come to? They're going to come straight to the bald people.
Yes, because
they'll think that we're more intelligent because, of course, they'll all be bald, so they'll come straight to us.
yes, why do we always assume that aliens from another planet will be bald? I mean, they might be very hairy. They might be giant bears.
They might come from a very cold world.
Yeah.
Now, we always assume that aliens will be naked. You know, they won't have any, or they won't have any body hair because we seem to associate lots of body hair with being unintelligent. Because, of course, animals have lots of body hair. But there you go.
Okay.
But yeah, they'll come straight to us, Mr. Duncan. You must be the most intelligent people on this planet. Because you're bald like us.
Apologies to anyone who is hairy watching.
We'll be saved. Anyone with hair, they're going to be wiped out.
Okay, Steve.
We'll be taken off to the other planet to have to mate with other aliens to create a new species.
I don't want to do that. I don't unless they look like sheep, of course. In which case, I'm in. I'm at the front. Here we go then, Steve. Talking of losing things. We are looking at loss and lose words and phrases. So, for the next few moments, we are going to look at this, and then we are going to play Fill in the Blanks.
Fill in the blanks?
Fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks. That coming up.
I might stay now.
Until towards the end of today's live stream. Here we go then. So, there are many words and phrases that we can use when we talk about loss. You lose something. Something is a loss. So the feeling, you might describe loss as the feeling of losing something. So here are some phrases, Steve. First of all, we have lose out on something. You might lose out on something. Can you think of an example of that? To miss a chance or an opportunity means.
Yes, cryptocurrency, Mr. Duncan. I've lost out on my opportunity to invest in cryptocurrency. Well, you could say that. That's an example. I've lost out on my chance to. The inference, the implication is that had you done something in the past, you would have now benefited from that decision, but because of fear or whatever, you decided not to do something, or not take somebody's advice, and now other people are doing better than you as a result of something that you didn't do.
Yes. So to miss a chance or an opportunity,
Yes.
we can say that person might lose out on something. They miss their chance. We've got to move on, Steve.
Yes, no, somebody might say, here's an opportunity for you to invest in something. If you don't, you will lose out.
That's it.
Is what people say.
Next.
Yes. Well, it's nice to give examples, Mr. Duncan.
Cut your losses.
Yeah.
Cut your losses. If you cut your losses, it means you leave or quit before things get worse. So I suppose a good example would be if you are gambling in a casino. You might be losing money, so you decide to cut your losses. You take your remaining chips off the table and you go and cash them in, and then that's it. You cut your losses. You think, I'm not going to continue because things might get worse.
A relationship. You've been in a relationship for a number of years. It's not going well. You've spent a lot of time. It doesn't have to be money, this. It can be, the loss could be time. Or it could be something you've invested, like a relationship. You've invested in that relationship. You were hoping to get married. You keep asking. They say no. And then you say, I'm going to cut my losses and end this relationship because, you spent money, time, emotional involvement. You're going to cut your losses and move on and find somebody else. So it doesn't have to be money. It can be time, emotional involvement, anything.
That's it. So before things get worse.
Yes.
Here's another one. Oh, you might be suffering from a loss of momentum. I think this happens to all of us, even me. A lot of people assume that I'm always busy and upbeat about my work, but sometimes I lose my momentum. Sometimes I might lose my enthusiasm or my energy. I think it happens to all of us. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes you do. Sometimes you have a loss of momentum. So that force, that energy that you have that drives you to do something, you might slowly lose it over time. Maybe you need a break away from what you're doing. You have loss of momentum.
Yes, could happen in your job. You might be successful. This often happens with a lot of things. There's a cycle, isn't there, involved in achievement and achieving something. You put effort in, you get results, but you can't always sustain that effort because you lose interest in it, and so you lose momentum. You stop putting the same amount of effort into your job, into your customers maybe, and then your results start to trail off. And you lose momentum, and you might need a holiday to reignite that momentum. We've got lots of good suggestions coming in from people on the live chat as well, Mr. Duncan. We'll mention those after you.
You might be at a loss. To be at a loss. To be in a confused or unsure state. You are at a loss. Maybe something you don't understand. Maybe an event that's occurred. And someone is after the answer. They are looking for answers to that thing. Why did it happen? Do you know why? And the person might reply with, I'm at a loss. It means I'm confused or unsure. So you are in the state, the feeling of being confused or unsure.
Somebody phones you up, you've been going out with them for a while, and they phone up and say, I'm sorry, I just want to be friends. I don't want to be in a relationship with you. I just want to be friends. And you're, why? Why? You're saying, why is this? I'm at a loss. Please tell me why. What have I done? I'm at a loss. You go to your friends and say, my boyfriend's broken up with me. I don't know why. I'm at a loss.
So you are in a confused state, or you are unsure. You really don't know what is going on.
Palmyra's not feeling very well.
Oh.
So is it Palmyra? Oh, yes, Palmyra says, I'm not feeling very well. Bye-bye, dear classmates.
Oh,
I'm not feeling very well. Oh, that's very sad, Palmyra. We hope you feel better soon, and we hope that we haven't contributed to you or you feeling not very well.
no. Go and have a rest.
Hope you get better soon.
I have a feeling it might be a cold, some sort of seasonal cold, maybe.
Right.
I think so. To be at a loss. Here's another one, Steve, as we continue and say, get well soon to Palmyra. To be on a losing streak. We've all been down this road, haven't we? You've had a period of bad luck. You are on a losing streak, which, of course, is the opposite to having lots of luck if you are on a winning streak. So maybe instead you are on a losing streak, a period of bad luck. And this happens in life. All of us go through a period where maybe we are on a losing streak.
It feels like you are. I mean, you can be on a losing streak in gambling, can't you? Or you just keep pulling that wheel, pulling that whatever it is, arm, putting the money in, nothing happens. But you can be, you can say, I feel like I'm on a losing streak at the moment because nothing seems to be going right. But one thing's for certain, law of averages will kick in, and eventually things will get better.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like it at the time.
That's it. It's sometimes, well, you might call it just that thing that happens quite often in life. You might find yourself suddenly on a losing streak. We have only 3 more, and then we are into fill in the blanks coming up. You might lose face. A person who loses face. To suffer humiliation or public shame is to lose face. So you are maybe trying to make your own way in the world. Maybe you are trying to make your own points about things that happen around you, and maybe another person humiliates you, or maybe they prove you to be wrong, or maybe not suitable for something. Maybe you say something and maybe you say something without having all the knowledge required. You might lose face because another person will then correct you. They will say, no, it's not like that. It's like this instead.
That often happens when I'm making comments on news events. You make a comment and then you realise that you probably shouldn't have said anything because you didn't have all the true facts there. And then you look a bit silly when somebody points out when you're wrong. Some people might say, I don't want to give a talk at work in front of all my colleagues. I might look stupid. I might lose face. They all think I'm quite competent, but then I stand up and say something, and then they'll suddenly realise maybe I'm not so good as they thought I was. And you don't want to lose face. You can lose face in lots of ways. Normally, it's to do with, as you say, in public. In front of people that know you, your family, friends, and something humiliating happens and you lose face or you lose standing, you feel silly.
This is very prevalent, by the way, in Chinese culture, and that is one of the interesting traits of the way, I'm saying in China because I lived there and I've seen this actually happen. So losing face in Chinese culture is a very bad thing. It's taken incredibly seriously.
It's the same in Japan as well, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. So I think this
the
is...
The only way out sometimes, isn't it, is suicide. The Japanese take it to extreme. If say, a business fails or something happens and they're humiliated, quite often a Japanese businessman will commit suicide, jump out of a window, or, the old Harry Carey with a sword. Yes, some cultures do take this very seriously, losing face.
It's everything.
Of course, in England, we just tend to sort of laugh it off.
Yes, we have no shame.
We've got no shame here. I think it's the same in America.
You may have noticed, by the way, with us, that we appear to never worry about losing face because we have no shame, basically.
Well, of course, in America, the culture is very much if you fail, you just pick yourself up, get back up and try again. Yeah. And lots of people that have become bankrupt, lose everything, start again. They don't worry about losing face or being humiliated. They just start again and try again, and then they become successful. It's very much a very, very different culture in America, where failure is not seen as anything shameful.
That's it.
Unless, of course, you've done it illegally.
In fact, sometimes if you do something that is shameful, you might even get more points or be admired even more than before. Here's another one. You might describe someone as a loser. Do we know any losers?
A loser, that's a horrible phrase. If somebody calls you a loser, that really is a horrible phrase.
It's an insult.
It's an insult, yes. You loser. It's indicating that you're just not good for anything. I'm not going out with you. You're a loser.
Yes. In any social situation that you might come across, you are completely useless at it. You don't really belong to any part of society. You might describe that person as a loser. But I think sometimes we are all sometimes losers. I think it can happen. I think so.
Yeah, it's not a nice phrase. No. It's describing somebody who doesn't really have any success in life, and therefore being associated with them is not a good thing. But yes, it's not a nice thing to be described as, that one. Politicians never lose face, says Alessandra. That's right. Yes, I mean, we've often commented on that a politician can go to prison. A politician can commit crimes and go to prison, and they don't seem to feel any shame about it. They don't seem to lose face at all. I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
Oh.
Bless you. They always come in threes.
Oh.
One more?
No, I think that's it. I've got it's all the dust from that conifer tree's all got up my nose.
Okay.
But yes, no one wants to be described as a loser. But it is funny that some cultures... anyway, we've passed... Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Okay.
Tomek mentions the word faux... Oh, you're still going, Mr. Duncan. Keep going, yeah.
We have loss adjuster.
Oh, right.
This is a job that you often hear, but you never really think about what it actually is. And a loss adjuster is an accountant that specialises in securing business compensation in the event of damage to their business. For example, maybe a flood or a fire or something that causes damage to the business, not necessarily relating to the business doing badly, but something that comes along that stops the business from going forward or from functioning normally. So quite often you think of natural disasters like a flood or a fire, or maybe if part of the building collapses and that is your office space. And normally a loss adjuster will come in and they will try to work out how much compensation, how much you can get or how much you can claim. You try to put a case together, normally relating to the insurance that you have for protection. So it's quite an interesting job, that. I've never really sort of thought much about it before until today. And finally, this is how I feel sometimes, Steve. You feel as if you are fighting a losing battle. Maybe a disagreement or a dispute that can't be won, or maybe things in life that you are trying to overcome and you just can't. Or maybe this is what happens sometimes to me. Maybe you do overcome something and then another thing comes along. You are just fighting a losing battle.
Yes, it's a phrase to indicate that you're. It's almost overwhelming what you're doing. Might be at work. You're trying to get some changes done to happen at work, because everyone always does things the same way, and you feel as though you want to put forward some suggestions on how to improve things, but nobody is really taking any notice of what you're saying. Maybe because they don't want to change, or because they don't want you to look successful in doing something. And so, but you keep trying, you keep asking your boss, And he says, well, maybe I'll think about that next month. And then you ask somebody else and you keep... Nothing seems to be achieved. And so you might use the phrase, I feel like I'm fighting a losing battle.
And I think it does happen to most people at some point in their lives where people just won't listen to you, or maybe they don't take your advice seriously, or maybe the thing that you have that might be different, or maybe a conflict you have.
You're putting a lot of effort in to try and change something.
Yes.
Change something, and you're not achieving anything because people or things are somehow preventing you from going any further. And so you might eventually give up, or you might make more effort, or just change the way you're doing things.
So I think there's some interesting words there. I hope they've been useful. Don't forget you can watch this again and again. So this live stream can be watched as many times as you want. And of course, later on, there will be captions as well. I know at the moment YouTube is having some technical problems processing long videos. So that's the reason why it often takes a very long time for this particular live stream to process. So there is normally a few hours.
Ooh, chasing a lost cause.
Oh, that's a good one.
There's a good one from somebody here whose name I can't pronounce because it's in a different language. Is it Cyrillic?
It is in Cyrillic.
So how would you like us to describe your name? We can't pronounce that. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. But thank you very much for your suggestion.
Yes. Something that is a lost cause is something that there is no point, or there is no need, or it is unnecessary to keep trying to help or to improve that thing because it will never get better. It is a lost cause.
Yes.
Maybe you have a brother who gambles and he keeps spending all of his money, and then you give him some more money, and then the first thing he does is he goes and gambles that money and loses it again. So you say, that's it, that's enough. I'm not giving you any more money because you keep gambling it. You keep losing it.
Yes.
You are a lost cause.
Yes. Yes. There's nothing that can be done because that particular person isn't making the effort required to change something in their life.
I think that's good. Some good suggestions there.
Yes, thank you very much indeed.
We are 15 minutes away from the end of today's live stream. So in a few moments, we are going to play Fill in the Blanks. That coming up in a few moments. But first, we'll take a quick break, and then I can have a drink of water.
And I'm thirsty, Mr. Duncan.
And right. Then we will be back. We're just having a little laugh here at Vitas and some of the jokes you were telling today. They are very funny ones, by the way, very good jokes. Thank you very much for cheering us up
Yes.
on this Sunday.
The subject of loss. Yes, if you experience a loss as well, that's another phrase, isn't it?
Okay.
If you experience a loss, it means somebody close to you has died. If you experience a loss, we didn't cover that one. So for completion, there we are. I've recently had a loss, and if somebody says that, it means somebody close to them has died. We've of course had that, and I'm sure you have too. Right.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. You've really cheered me up. So Vitas is cheering me up, and Steve is putting me back down. Here we go. It's time to play the game that everyone loves to play.
Fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks, dun dun, fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks, dun dun, fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks.
Fill in the blanks. I am looking forward to having
Hot cross bun.
a hot cross. No, not a hot cross bun. We don't have any hot cross buns. Tea cake.
Oh, I thought they were hot cross buns. Tea cakes.
They
Right.
are.
Okay. Yeah.
We have a tea cake coming up after this and a cup of tea. So we are filling in the blanks. The whole thing explains itself as we go along. And fill in the blanks is basically a sentence with blanks, spaces. And all you have to do is fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks, fill in the blanks. And here is the first one.
Is it anything to do with loss?
No.
Fine. So it's anything. Nothing to do with anything we've talked about today. Just totally random. Grammar. Grammar is what we want here. We want the word to be grammatically correct.
Just give it a go. Don't be shy. Give it a try. I don't...
Yes, don't lose face. You won't lose face.
Okay, Steve.
I'm just trying. Yeah.
Let me just ask. I don't something in something. Things to something.
This is a safe space here. So don't be afraid of putting in suggestions and then being corrected by us if they're wrong.
If there's anything this space is not, it's safe.
And there will be no losing face here or no embarrassment, because we're all here for one thing only,
Okay.
and that is to learn English. Well, I'm not. I'm quite good at it.
Quite good.
You're here for that.
Yes, you are quite good at English.
Yes. And we'd love to know, have you got an alternative name, Cyrillic person? I'm going to call you Cyrillic person.
Great.
Because I can't pronounce your name. It looks like BNTA and then a C. Can you give us an alternative name that we can call you, that we can all understand, please? But are we getting any suggestions? I don't believe in magic things to exist. The grammar's not quite right on that. Sorry, Valentin.
I don't believe in magic or magical things. I don't believe in magic things to... Now, if there were two blanks at the end, you could have said, to be honest. I don't believe in magical things, to be honest. That means you
Yes.
are expressing what you really think. Here's another one. I don't indulge in such things to oblivion. I suppose by oblivion you mean something you do far too much, or you keep doing it without stopping. Oblivion. It's a great word, by the way, oblivion. I like oblivion because it's sort of everything going on and on and on and on until the very end, and then oblivion.
Oblivion. Yes.
Giovanni, mind explaining you. I don't mind. I don't mind in explaining things to you.
Yeah. So far, we haven't had any suggestions that are grammatically correct. We know what you're trying to say, but they don't quite fit in with the grammar's not right. And I think, yes. Yes, I think so. What you want to say there, Giovanni, is I don't mind explaining things to you. I don't mind explaining things to you.
Yes.
You wouldn't want the
No.
word in that sentence. You don't say, I don't mind in explaining. You wouldn't say that. You just say, I don't mind explaining things.
I will give you a
To
clue.
you.
I will give you a clue. So you are talking about maybe something that you feel yourself. You feel. So imagine if you're telling someone what you feel personally. That will be the first word there. I don't something in something things to. So maybe something, or maybe a piece of advice. I don't believe in religious things to death.
I don't addict in sweet things to food. Yes, yeah, I think a lot of you see the thing with a lot of other languages is that the words sometimes go round the other way, don't they? The words in a sentence are sometimes in a different order
Yes.
than they are in English, and I think that's sometimes the issue that some of you have, in that the order of words when you're explaining things in English is different to the order that you would. Sometimes the certain words go at the end, don't they, in some languages, and they
This
come
is
at the
it,
beginning
yes.
in English, or the other way
Yes.
around.
Well, French is a good example.
Yes.
Where quite often the noun or the action of the noun might be reversed, you see. I
Yes.
think so.
And I think that's the problem. A lot of you are trying to fit in the words around the way you would say it in your own language, but it's different to it. That's
Anyway.
why the grammar's not coming across.
So the first word is something that you feel. Something that you feel, something that you... And the word would be there. So I'm going to give you the answer to this. This is the answer that I have, and then you'll see how this...
This is an interesting one. We
Okay.
haven't had one correct one here. That is... Go on then, Mr.
Oh,
Duncan.
okay.
Yeah. Should we just wait? What have we got here? I don't want...
Well, I want to do another one.
In heaven, things too simple.
No.
Yep, that's not right, I'm afraid. The order of the words is not right.
I mean, these are good tries, good efforts. I'm going to show you what the construction of this sentence is and then explain it. I don't believe in leaving things to chance.
Ah.
So you can see now, I don't believe in means that you don't consider that thing to be real, or maybe you think that that is something that you don't feel that you should do, like this sentence. So this sentence is saying, I don't believe in leaving things to chance, which is in itself a very interesting phrase. If you leave something to chance, it means you don't take any action, or you don't try to change a situation, you just see what happens. Sometimes leaving a thing to chance is not a good way of living your life, because things can go wrong. So quite often we do have to take control of a situation. We don't like to leave things to chance.
Dashiva, I think would be how you pronounce that. I don't believe in better things to come. Correct.
Yeah, that's good.
So you're saying it's a negative phrase. You're saying it's a bit of a pessimistic phrase, but you're saying you don't think that things will get better in the future. I don't believe in better things to come, or brighter things to come.
It's rather pessimistic.
It's pessimistic, but it's grammatically correct. So thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
And I think we have time for one more. I don't want to make this one too...
That one was a bit specific. There weren't many different examples to that one
That's it.
that could work.
Let's have a look at this one. Here's another one. My something will something at the end of the something. So we might be talking about a process that is taking place, or something that is happening. My something will something at the end of the something. So maybe something or a thing that is going to happen, or maybe a process that is taking place. And maybe we are talking about a particular point of time as well. So I think this is quite a good one. And there might be more than one suggestion as well for this sentence.
I've got to go and sweep up all the clippings later, Mr. Duncan.
You have a busy afternoon
I've
ahead.
got to sweep up all the clippings from the conifer plant. There must be a whole wheelbarrow full of them, if not more. We'll show it later, maybe. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds good to me. My something will something at the end of the...
Valentin, yes, my dog will die at the end of the year. It's specific.
You seem very sure of that.
Yes, that's it. You could replace dog with anything that's living, and then you could replace the last phrase with week.
Maybe your dog is coming back. You might say, my dog will return at the end of the week.
Or my cat will return at the end of the day.
Yes.
Because cats go out. My chance will come at the end of the day, says Cyrillic. Yes, that fits. My chance will come at the end of the day. Yes, the indication there that you will have an opportunity to do something at the end of the day for whatever reason. At the moment, you want to do something, it's not possible, but at the end of the day, your chance will come for whatever reason.
Francesca, my exams will start at the end of the semester.
A big for you. Yes. My desire will die at the end of the fling. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. I think we know what you're saying there,
I think we know what you're talking about there.
At the end of the, yes.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah, I think we know what you're saying there, yes. It's grammatically correct.
My dream will go at the end of the life. Not quite grammatically correct there, but I know what you mean. I believe love is the last thing we lose, apparently.
Pardon?
It was once written, love is the last thing to leave you. It is the only solid thing that exists.
My reward will come at the end of the work. Yeah, well, yeah.
Maybe I would put day.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
Or week. Or month.
Yes.
So you might find that the last word here might be a particular time, because you can see that this sentence is leading towards a moment of time.
And Nicham's put a very, very explicit one on, which is in a similar theme to Tom X. Unfortunately, it's not quite grammatically correct.
Which I'm very pleased about, because then we don't have to read it out. Driss, my turn will come at the end of the week. Thank you, Driss. That is good. Yes, my turn will come at the end of the week. Something that is going to happen.
Giovanni, my lawn will dry at the end of the summer. You wouldn't put the summer. You would just put my lawn. Well, you would, if you were going to be completely grammatically correct. My lawn will be dry at the end of summer. So it's not quite right, but it's not far off. Grammatically correct, you would say my lawn will be dry at the end of summer.
Or dry out.
Or dry out at the end of... You don't put the summer, it's just summer. That's not quite right. My dream will realise at the end of the week. My dream will come true. A dream, yeah. Or my dream will be realised. You would have to put, if you're going to use the word realise, you'd have to say my dream will be realised at the end of the week.
It could appear, of course. My dream will appear at the end of the year. Maybe your dream will happen. My dream will happen at the end of the year? Maybe something you are planning to do that you are looking forward to.
Here's a good one from Beatrice. My friend will arrive at the end of the month. Yes, that is grammatically correct. It makes perfect sense. My friends will arrive at the end of the week. My mother will arrive at the end of the week.
So I wonder
Or the month.
What do I have? Let's have a look.
What do
shall
you
we?
have, Mr. Duncan?
Oh, so this is what I have. Oh, my business will close at the end of the month. Maybe I am going out of
That's
business.
depressing.
Or maybe the opposite.
My business will
Open.
open at the end of the month. Yes. Lots of possibilities there, and a lot of you got that right. My lease will expire at the end of the week, says Cyrillic. Yes.
My friend will visit at the end of the week.
Yeah. My mortgage will end. My mortgage will finish at the end of the year.
My lease will expire.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one.
You're getting it. Yeah.
I like
Very
it. Expire.
Well done. We'd still like to know what your name is that we can pronounce in English, because I cannot pronounce that word, unfortunately. There we go.
Don't worry, Mr. Steve. We have time. We can have a look later. That, as they say, is that. We have had a busy one today. It's been a very busy live stream, I have to say.
It has.
But we are going now. I will be back with you. I'm going to come on.
Oh, Miss Valentin's here. My bus will stop at the end of the street.
Okay.
Yes, well done.
Yeah. Let me just say goodbye because we're going now. My legs are aching, to be honest. I put myself through a lot of pain to do this. I hope you realise. It is time to say goodbye. I'm back, as I said, on Wednesday, 2 p.m. UK time, and then we are back next Sunday. Very exciting, because we are coming towards the end of May, which means that June is also heading towards us. Oh,
And we know what's happening in June.
Yeah.
Yes. Jimmy's just arrived. Yes, sorry, you've missed a few things, and we're going now, so you'll have to watch it on when the recording is free. So you're here on Wednesday. Just to reiterate, Mr. Duncan is here on Wednesday, so plan your week around Mr. Duncan. He's going to be here, and I might be here as well.
so I will be here on Wednesday.
So what's that? You are here on Wednesday then, just to repeat. Yes,
Definitely.
good.
I am 100% here on Wednesday. I'm
And-
here on Wednesday, 2 p.m. UK time. I'm here on Wednesday. Right here.
Vitali is the English pronunciation for Mr. or Mrs. Cyrillic, who came up with a very, who is, I think, new, but we're not quite sure. Probably not, and I've said this before.
I don't think Steve wants to go.
Right, I'm off to put the tea cakes on and a cup of tea, and then I'm going to have another sleep.
Really?
And I'm going to sweep up the clippings from the hedge.
Anyway,
Lovely to be here, Mr. Duncan, with you all, you lovely, wonderful people from across the globe. Friends, lovers. Bye-bye.
catch you later. And of course, we're going together
Yes.
as usual. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. And of course, until the next time we meet, you know what's coming next. Are you ready?
Yes. Get on with it. Ta-ta for now.
Try again.
Ta-ta for now.
Oh, he did it this time. Very good.